Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio. We give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people like to welcome you all to the show. Look, we're going to have a great show for you tonight. We're dealing with the second part of a show that I recently did about Kamala-Harris dealing with her mother's Indian roots in India. They have this thing called caste system. And this is my theory, right? My theory is that the root of racism started in India with that caste system, right? And my theory is that, and I'm gonna back it up with some facts, but this is my theory of me gluing this thing together, right? Okay, so Yakub grafted the Caucasian race, right, out of the original man, right? Okay, now they did live amongst the people in the Middle East, in Mecca, right? But they caused so much mischief that General Muhammad gathered all that he could find and sent them to the hills and cave sides of Europe and roped them in, right? But we took some to be wives, and we started marrying the ones that we couldn't find when they rounded them all up, and some of the original man was hiding and took these Yakub's new people, took them as wives, right? So now they mixing in with them, right? And so they started to become lighter, right? And then these lighter or Persians or Indo-Iranians, right, go over and start conquering India. And they called those people, the Indo-Europeans, they called those people Aryans. Now Hitler got a hold of that knowledge, and he started calling himself Aryans, and also took the swastika from the Indian people over in India and adopted that into his mission, right? So we want to delve into this topic, this subject, because it has to be dealt with, and I believe when you're dealing with racism, we have to deal with it on this whole planet, across the globe, in America, in Brazil, in Jamaica, in India. Because it started, from my theory, it started in India first, where a lighter European type, prototype, conquers a darker people, mix their blood with their people, and the lighter of that people ruled over the darker. That was a new dynamic on the planet, right? But it was also prophesied that it would happen. How else would they maintain a rule for 6,000 years, right? So it was prophesied that all this was happening, but for a time, before the bottom rail comes back up to the top, before the last become the first. So, and we're going through that process today. So we're getting started. Aryan, Aryan, circa 1600, as a term in classical history, from Latin Arianus, Ariana, from Greek area. Names applied in classical times to the eastern part of ancient Persia. So that's Iran, and its inhabitants. Ancient Persians used the name in reference to themselves, hence Iran. Ultimately, from Sanskrit, Ara, Arya, compatriot, and latter language, noble of good family. Also, the name Sanskrit speaking invaders of India. See, also the name Sanskrit speaking invaders of India gave themselves in the ancient text. Thus, it was the word early 19th century European philologist Frederick Schlegel, Schlegel, 1819, who linked it with German meaning honor, applied to the ancient people we now call Indo-European. Suspecting that this is what they call themselves, this use is attested in English from 1851, in German from 1845. It was specifically contrast to Semitic Lassen, Lassen. German philologist Max Muller, 1823 to 1900, popularized Aryan in his writing on comparative linguistics, recommending it as the name Indo-Germanic, Caucasian, Japhetic, that's Japhetic, for the group of related inflected languages connected with these people, mostly found in Europe, but also including Sanskrit and Persian. The spelling Aryan was used in this sense from 1839, but it caused confusion with Arian, the term in ecclesiastical history. Okay, Aryan was gradually replaced in comparative linguistics 1900 by Indo-European, except when used to distinguish Indo-European languages from India from non-Indo-European ones. From the 1920s, Aryan began to be used in Nazi ideology to mean member of a Caucasian, Gentile race or Nordic type. So it went from the east of the Persians to Hitler snatched it and said, well, now Aryan means Aryan began to be used in Nazi ideology to mean member of a Caucasian, Gentile race or Nordic type. As an ethnic designation, however, it is properly limited to Indo-Iranians and has fallen from general academic use since the Nazis adopted, right? So they're using a term that didn't have its origins in Germany, right? So y'all bear with me real quick. Okay, now let's get this right. Now we gonna get back to it, but now we get to the swastika. The word swastika is derived from the Sanskrit root swasta, which is composed of su, the su, goodwill, auspicious, and the asta, asti, to be or there is. The word swastika has been used in the Indian subcontinent since 500 BCE. Its appearance in English dates to the 19th century. So they started using, it's been from Sanskrit, it's been amongst the native people in India since 500 BC. The Germans just snatched it up, snatched the symbol, and started using it to do evil towards the Jews. They adopted it and corrupted the meaning and used it to fit their own benefit. Let's put it like this. Replacing Gammadion, that's Gammadion from Greek, it is alternatively spelled in contemporary text as svastika, Svastika, and other spellings were occasionally used in the 19th and early 20th century, such as swastika, Suastika. It was derived from the Sanskrit term, which translates to swastika under the commonly used IAST translation system, but it's pronounced closer to swastika when letters are used with their English values. An important early use of the word swastika in the European text was in 1871 with the publication of Henrik Schillemann, who discovered more than 1,800 ancient symbols of swastika symbol and its variants while digging the Haraska mound near the Aegean Sea coast for the history of Troy. Schillemann linked his findings to the Sanskrit swastika. The word swasta occurs frequently in the Vedas as well as in classical literature, meaning health, luck, success, prosperity, and it was commonly used as a greeting. The final ka, the ka, is a common suffix that could have multiple meanings. Look, according to Monier Williams, a majority of scholars consider it a solar symbol. The sign implies something fortunate, lucky, or auspicious, and it denotes auspiciousness or well-being. Right? That's the swastika. And it also has the same meaning as Aryan. The earliest known use of the word swastika is in Panini Ashtadhyayi, which is Ashtadhyayi, which uses it to explain one of the Sanskrit grammar rules in the context of a type of identifying mark on the cow's ear. So the cow is sacred in India. Okay, now wait, let me finish this and we get to the second part. Most scholarship suggests that Panini, P-A-N-I-N-I, lived in or before the 14th century BCE, possibly in 6th or 5th century BCE. And the Tetragrammaton, or cross gammadon, Latin crux, French crux, as each arm resembles the Greek letter, and they got this little eye with some stuff on it. The hooked cross, angled cross, cross crampon. So it's just different words that they use to deal with that swastika, right? So now we getting into the second part, right? Okay, now we getting into. I had to read through all that part so you can understand the next part, getting into that caste system that they have in India, which has to be knocked down. I mean, the way they treat the people over there it's the same system though, from New Zealand to America to India to all over the globe. When the Europeans came into the land and conquered the native people, they put their people in place. They subjugated the native people to be servants, and they ruled with the gun on them and harsh treatment so they could stay in that position of power. The playbook haven't changed since, right? Check this out. There are different theories regarding the origin of the caste system in India. The religious theory claims that the Varnas were created from the body of the Brahma, the creator of the world. The Brahmins were created from his navel. The Kshatriyas, which is Kshatriyas, from his hands. The Vaishyas, Vaishyas, from his thighs, and the Sudras from his feet. And that's Sudras, Sudras, from his feet. According to the social historical theory, and I'm giving you my theory, they giving their theory, but within those theories, there's facts because it dates back so far, but we can kind of get a glimpse of what actually took place. According to the social historical theory, the origin of the caste system finds its origin in the arrival of Aryans in India, who were the Aryans in India, light-skinned folk or white folks or mixed, mainly dealing with Europeans. Arrival of the Aryans in India. The Aryans arrived in India in around 1500 BC. The Aryans disregarded the local cultures. That's the key right there. Wherever the colonizer came in any system, the first thing he's gonna do is disregard your culture. He's gonna put his religion up. He's gonna put his white Jesus up, and he's gonna put his culture and his way of living above the culture of the natives who is already there. And over time, that weakens the natives. And then he feeds you his educational system till that's all you know and you lose yourself, right? Now, how do you gather yourself again? How do you put yourself back together again? God has to come through in the person of a man and give a knowledge higher than what the colonizer gave the people, so that it'll touch the people at their core, because the people was created on truth. So he'll give the people a truth that the indigenous will understand that truth, but the colonizer wouldn't understand what's going on. And then the indigenous people start getting together in their senses again. They start waking from their slumber, and they start moving again, right? Okay. The Aryans arrived in India in around 1500 BC. The Aryans disregarded the local culture. They began conquering and taking control over regions in North India, and at the same time pushed the local people southwards and towards the jungles and mountains in North India. They pushed the people out into the jungles, made them live a jungle life in India. You know, did the same on that continent and on this continent. Did the same thing when they came. Where did they push the original Olmecs and the Mayans at? They pushed them out the city, and they talk about, well, there's no sign of Mayans and they all disappeared. We don't know where they went, because you took over their cities, took their gold, and then you rebuilt it your way. And then you also rebuild it from what you learned from the Moors, when the Moors had Portugal and Spain. Okay. They did it all over. Did it over here too. Pushed the natives out. Pushed the original people out of the cities. Took over the cities. Pushed the people out. Just like when you see those movies dealing with the Native Americans, and they took over and put them on reservations, but they made sure they put them on land, barren land that couldn't even produce corn and crops. They barely can grow anything, and starved them out. And then they replaced it with fire, water, alcohol, and just so they could knock them off their game and have them totally dependent upon them. Yeah, so it's the same playbook is what I'm saying. But India, not saying India is worse, but India was the beginning. And India, that situation over there with that whole caste system has to be dealt with. Okay. The Aryans organized themselves in 3 groups, right? They was already, because wait. So the Aryans supposedly are the Iranians mixed with the Nordics, or Yaqub's children. That's why I say, Yaqub, come get your children. But anyway, okay, they all in there mixing these warring tribes like people, right? You know, they've been cramped up in that cave for so long that when they came out of the caves, they didn't have any humility or regard for the people or their culture. They just killed, took over, set their religion, they rule the law, and made everybody bow down to it by force. So they shoved it down a people's throat. And anytime you shove something down somebody's throat, it leaves a distaste in their system. And over time, they would throw it up. They regurgitate it. Okay, so come on. The Aryans organized themselves in three groups. The first group was the warriors, and they were called Rajanyas, Rajanya. Later, they changed its name to Kshatriyas. The second group was of the priests, and they were called Brahmas. These two groups struggled politically for the leadership among the Aryans. In this struggle, the Brahmas emerged victorious. The third group was of the farmers and craftsmen, and they were called the Vaisyas, Vaisyas. The Aryans who conquered and took control over parts of North India subdued the locals and made them their servants. Same thing. Same playbook, whether I don't care. Look, I don't care if you was in the Caribbeans, you was black in India, you black in Africa's apartheid, you black in America, you black in Brazil, you black in Hawaii, black in New Zealand. Same thing happened to you. And then we fighting saying that you ain't black if you don't act like the blacks that's in America. You ain't black if you ain't from Africa. You ain't black if you ain't Haitian. You ain't true black if you not Dominican or Panama. Or, come on. Melanin is melanin is melanin all across the globe, and all melanated people got done the same way by the same playbook, and you've been tricked and tricked again. Can the devil fool you? Not nowadays. So stop being fooled is what I'm saying. All one family. Some of you Muslims don't even know you're Muslim. Wow. Between the outcasts and the three Aryan Varnas, there is the Sudra Varna, who are the simple workers of the society. The Sudras consist of two communities. One was of the locals who were subdued by the Aryans, and the other was the descendants of the Aryans with the locals. They mix in blood. In Hindu religious stories, there are many wars between the good Aryans and the dark-skinned demons and devils. That's the look. When the Moors had conquered Spain, and when Spain won in 1492 and expelled the Moors from Spain, after the Moors built up the city, paved the roads, gave them knowledge, gave them culture, gave them music, gave them the arts, they turned around and called them dark-skinned demons, and pictured and portrayed them as demons, right? Mocking them, right? The Moors. They did the same thing in India. Because it really was saying white must conquer dark, right? And they started creating an ideology to fit that mindset. Let's put it like this. The different gods also have dark-skinned slaves. Right? Now they changing it. They changing the narrative. There are stories of demon women trying to seduce good Aryan men in deceptive ways, right? See, that's why whenever they put a black woman in most movie types, they have a real highly sexual, and she going after the white man. This is where it's derived from. In Hollywood, they keep perpetuating that image into your mind over and over and over again, and the people fall for it. Same playbook again and again. You see the sister, white boy mind his business, and she all sexy, and she coaxing him to get in her bed. He ain't coaxing her. She throwing herself at him. That's part of the game, man. Part of the playbook. There were also marriages between Aryan heroes and demon women. So that means black and white. They now jungle fever coming on. They got interrelational relationships. Many believe that these incidents really occurred in which the gods and the positive heroes were people of Aryan origin and the demons, the devils, and the dark-skinned slaves were in fact the original residents of India, whom the Aryans coined as monsters, devils, demons, and slaves. That's right. They telling you right here. They telling you right here. The fact the original residents of India, whom the Aryans coined them as monsters, devils, demons, and slaves, and the dark skins were the original inhabitants of India. Like most societies of the world, in India also the son inherited his father's profession. And so there developed families who professed the same family profession for generations, in which the son continued his father's profession. Later on, as these families became larger, they were seen as communities or jatis. This Jatis. Different families who professed the same profession developed social relations between them and organized as a common community, meaning Jata. Right. Later on, the Aryans who created the caste system added to their system non-Aryans, different Jatas who professed different professions were integrated in different Varnas according to their profession. Other foreign invaders who conquered parts of India and created kingdoms were integrated into the Kshatriya Varna, warrior caste. But probably the Aryan policy was not to integrate original Indian communities within them, and therefore many aristocratic and warrior communities that were in India before the Aryans did not get the Kshatriya status. Wow. Wow, man. I'm over here like, wow, man. So they start, even other people, British, because we know British was all up in India and they adopted them in, but the natives who was there before any of them arrived, you gets nothing, right? We don't, they look how the police treat them. The police brutality in America is the same police brutality in India. I don't know where they get the training from. I heard that the training was putting the knee on the neck. They got that out of the training in Israel and brought that over to America and practiced that on black people in America. What is going on? What's going on in society? So Kamala-Harris, she got work to do. She got work to do, but I'm saying start over there first because that's the root of it all. And then start working your way. Then go to hit the Americas. Then hit Brazil. Then go back and hit Spain. And, I mean, there's work to do all over this globe with racism. That's why you had so many people marching behind the murder, the killing of George Floyd. Because it's even in Mexico, man. And where Gaspar Yanga was from. In Mexico. I forget the name. Wherever Gaspar Yanga was from in Mexico, all them black Mexicans down there, and the lighter Mexicans who rep Spain, who ain't been to Spain a day in their life, ain't been to Italy a day in their life, but they repping Spain and Italy, and they dogging out the native blacks that's been in Mexico before Spain even came to Mexico. The same playbook. The same system all over the globe. Ran out anywhere you see. Every indigenous native person on this planet was pushed back. The Native Americans pushed out into the wilderness, into the jungles, right? In India, the native Indians, dark-skinned people, pushed back into the jungles, right? Everywhere they came, did the same play. Pushed the Olmecs out of Mexico and ran them all up and through Mississippi. building mounds. I mean, it's wild. It's just, I mean, the same playbook all over, and did the exact same thing. Changing languages, having tribes war against each other based on geographical location, and not even looking at each other and saying, "Damn, man, you both got the same melanin. Your hair looks straighter than mine, but okay, we melanated people from different tribes. Why are we fighting each other? We've been knowing each other before we even knew that a colonizer, a Caucasian, a European, a white man even existed. We've been knowing each other. How is it that now we at each other's throat? You know, that's why I tell you all. For deeper and more understanding, you got to read the history of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when he speaks on the history of the Indian people in America that was expelled 16,000 years ago from India to the Americas, right? You got to listen to Minister Farrakhan. He teaches on this subject and breaks it down very well. So I'm just telling you all, Kamala-Harris, she's in a position to go after the root where it all started from, and fix that, and that'll end racism all over the globe. Vote Pick Radio, we out.